Hey, Caroline here, career and leadership coach. And today we're going to talk about your resume and why it's not the problem, but most people think it is a problem. And they're bending over backwards to try to fix their resume or the LinkedIn profile, but it's actually another problem and nobody talks about this. So I'm going to shed some light on this and give you an overview about what the sequence is that you need to implement to really have real change. So you're at the stage in your career that you're looking for a new job. Otherwise, why would you do your resume? So you're looking for a new job, and most people, they have been stuck during lockdown and they have been really not focusing on new opportunities. So beginning of next year, the first 6 months of next year, there is predicted to be a lot of movement, people that actually want to leave jobs, people that are just like maybe discovered that fact that they want to go traveling and that they want to do something else. So there's going to be a lot of movement. So what you want to do as a middle manager or senior manager, what you want to do is get your ducks in a row now, not next year, now. Because what will happen is you want to be ready that when that position comes up, you want to be ready to apply for that role. And regardless of anything that you might think like, oh, it's end of year and blah, blah, blah. Like, look, I have so many clients that came last minute to me with, oh, can you fix up my resume? Like, I want to really apply for this job. And it's the worst you can do to yourself. Like, yes, of course, I can help you, but it is more than that. And that's what I'm going to talk about. It's not just your resume, and your resume is never the real problem. So there are a couple of things that I want to start off with. There's actually three things that I'm going to talk you through. And the first thing that I want to talk you through is that the layers of change. So if you think about it, so the change you want to do is you want a new job, and ideally a job that's challenging, fulfilling, and that's paying what you're worth. And ideally a level up, because you've been at the same level probably for a little bit too long than you're comfortable with. So that is basically the change. So the first layer is the tactics, the strategy, or the tools, whatever it is, the systems, everything related to that. And if we compare it to your situation, the change you want is landing a new job. From a tactical or tool perspective, the first thing we think of is, okay, the resume. Let's fix our resume. But that is just the outer layer. And you have to think about, there are three layers. So you have to think about the second and the first most important one. The second layer is the mindset layer. Now you have to be in the right mindset to actually like go for a bigger role. Otherwise, self-doubt will come in, second guessing will come in, your confidence will show up that it's lacking in an interview. So your mindset is really important to be absolutely aligned with where you want to go, with what your vision, your career vision basically is. So yes, you have all the strategies and all the tactics, and you can do this and that and activate your network and brush up your LinkedIn and resume and have the best interview training in the world. None of that will work if you don't have the second layer right, which is your mindset. Your mindset needs to be in the right space and aligned with where you see yourself going. So that's the second part that you have to work on. But most people that I work with, like, they are very self-aware and they work constantly on their mindset, but their mindset is in a good shape. They know they're ambitious, they want to get somewhere, so they work on their resume with me, and on their interview techniques and job search strategy and so on. But there is something else, the first layer, that's really the most important one of all, and that's your identity. So if your identity is not supporting whatever mindset or belief or thought that you're trying to impose on that identity, it's not going to work. You're going to miserably fail. And identity could be that you feel like I should do this or should do that, and you compromise. And identity can even come from from childhood, where you have your blueprint, your programming, and you might carry all that baggage with you to your current adult situation, where you're actually like a manager, senior manager, a director, maybe even an executive, and you still carry that baggage from when you were young. And that is impacting you and your decisions and the way you are behaving. So it's really unraveling that identity part that it all starts with. Understanding who you are and what you are, what drives you, and really the core. And there's so many layers of it. And of course, I'm not a psychologist, so I can't really give you all the ins and outs. But one thing that's really important in the way I work with my clients is really understanding and unraveling their career DNA. So before we even get to the resume, and that's the tactics, remember, the outer layer. So before we even get there, we look at, okay, what is it that, who are you really? Who are you besides all the programming and layers that you've put on yourself over the years? At core, who are you? Who are you representing? What does being a leader mean to you? How can we connect again with who you truly are? Because that connection, if you can articulate that, that will fire you up, that will spark you up incredibly. And that will resonate with anybody that you are in front of. But if you are disconnected, if what you're saying is just lip service, it's not going to stick. So your identity needs to be very crystal clear. And a lot of people, it's not an easy journey. So it's quite a tough journey to actually start to unravel that. And it's not like something that you can do in a week or 2 weeks or over Christmas, or like some people like take a lifetime to actually every step and discover parts of them that they didn't know. And so, but you have to really initiate going on that journey and really starting that process of uncovering that, because that is what makes you authentic. A lot of people these days like put the word authentic around, and it's like, oh yeah, I'm authentic in this perspective and authentic that. This is like, I'm talking about being authentic across the board, really living from your authentic self and bringing your whole self to work, to life, to yourself, basically. So that is the first thing that I want you to understand, is the layers of change, the dynamics that you need to go through. It's not just your resume and LinkedIn profile. It's so much more. It's your mindset and it's your core identity. So that's the first thing. The second thing that falls under that banner, like it's not your resume. Your resume is not the only problem. Is basically that the middle managers that I work with, or senior managers, are often stuck in tactics. And so when you want to step up, they want to become more and more of a sought after leader. So they want to increase their leadership, whether they want to increase their leadership by increasing the scope of the role, so staying the same role, but increasing the scope, or whether it's literally like a step upwards, bigger teams, bigger job title, bigger salary, whatever. And that actually goes hand in hand. So shifting from that tactics to a more strategic approach is what needs to happen on their resume, or actually it needs to happen in their identity first, before they even can create the resume that's aligned with that. Because what happens is they go into an interview, and because over the span of their career, they have spent more time in that tactical world than in that leadership world. So, for example, I work with somebody that has over 15 years experience, commercial manager, and has spent at least like 8, 9, 10 years in that, really in delivering projects, delivering results, is a really high performer, good reputation. But the reputation that they want isn't the reputation that their colleagues, their peers, their bosses see them through. So, for example, if you have a good reputation, I have a question for you. What is your reputation saying? Because a lot of my clients have a good reputation, but it's a reputation of a doer. It's not of a leader. And if you want to be considered for a promotion, if you want to go for a job that's high level outside your organization, then you want to be seen differently. And even though you can do it, so I'm not questioning if you have the ability to think strategically or to show up as a leader. I'm saying, are you communicating that capability on your resume and later on in an interview? Is that really coming through, or are you stuck more in the executional level or in the tactical level? So this is a question that only, of course, you can answer. So that's the second step, is really think about, okay, how am I communicating about myself on my resume, my LinkedIn profile, and in an interview? How am I communicating? Am I really focused on that tactical aspects or leadership aspect? And again, this is not about a bunch of words you put on your resume and say like, hey, yes, of course, now I am really positioned as a leader, Caroline. Yes, I have done it. It's not that. It's about like take back the layers and change the way you talk and perceive yourself. It all starts with how you perceive yourself, because this is how you're going to really project the image that you want to the external world. And that is what needs to be crystal clear to you first before you even work on that. So that's step number two. The last step, of course, is putting it all together. Once you know once you understand the dynamics of change, then once you know, like, okay, what is the tactical part of my job and what's the strategic leadership part of my job, and how can I really shift that balance and refocus and believing that I am embodying that what a sought after leader needs. Once you have done that, then you can start and really create your leadership resume. Now, your leadership resume, again, it is not just your resume that we have to look on, piece of paper with a bunch of words. It's really understanding, first of all, your unique value proposition and your unique value proposition to an organization. What do you have to offer an organization that's different than any other candidate? And if you don't know that, they don't know that. And a lot of people don't know that. So don't pull the wool over your own eyes. Like, face it. Like, if it's something that you need to discover, what is your unique value proposition? Then, like, let's find that out. What makes you unique? Like, there is not a lot unique in the world anymore. Like, everything has been copied. Like, but you are unique. You have certain skills, a certain reputation, you worked in certain organizations in a certain moment in time, and that combination is unique. But most people don't spend the time to really explore that, because it takes effort and it's a journey, but it's a well worth journey, because even if it takes a couple of days, weeks to figure out and go on that journey, because it doesn't take like months and years, it takes a couple of weeks to actually get clear on what's missing, and then you have a light bulb moment. Then you say like, oh my God, I can see it. I can see it. And when you can see it, you can believe it and you can do it. So that is basically it. So your unique value proposition is the first part. The second part is really your pitch. It's like your elevator pitch, like everything that you have uncovered as your unique value proposition might be random stuff everywhere. Now you have to really bring that all together in a pitch that clearly communicates your added value to an organization in such a way that it's clear, not underselling you, and that other people really understand that. So that's the second part, is getting your pitch right. And once you have your pitch right, then and only then comes your resume. and your pitch really flows out, your resume flows out of your pitch. So think about it as your pitch is the foundation of your house. You don't want to build a house on a crooked foundation, because the whole house will be crooked. No, you want to have a solid, a strong foundation to build upon. And your pitch is basically representing that. And then, only then you can build the rest of your resume in line with that, because it sets the tone. Your pitch is like your narrative. It's like the story that you want to tell, but in a professional way. Because of course it's on paper, and you can't just like tell a really long story as a pitch. Pitch is very small. Think about an elevator pitch. So that's basically the formula on how you construct everything. So first, understanding really the dynamics and the layers of change. Then understanding really your where you're stuck in tactics versus strategy, and how to actually start really shifting that balance. And thirdly, it's your leadership resume that you can create, which has 3 components. The first component is your unique value proposition. Second one is really creating and crafting your pitch. And third one is your resume itself. And your resume and your LinkedIn profile, that will be your external branding things that you will use to communicate to others that you're interested in the job that you're applying for. You see, it's not your resume. It's so much deeper than that. And as a result, what I often see is 2 things that happen. So all people are trying to write their resume themselves, and they make all the mistakes under the sun, because they only see themselves in a certain way, and it's not objective. So they end up underselling themselves, and that therefore they end up in opportunities or in positions where they're not earning their worth, they're downplaying their potential, and they're just like undervalued. So basically, they're not really aligned. So doing it yourself, even it might work when you're in junior manager's position, but not if you're in middle or senior management position. If you really want to step up and increase your influence, you need to start thinking differently and changing your behavior, and doing it yourself, even though it might have worked in the past and it might get you the odd interview there, here and there. You want to make sure that you see what you can't see yourself, that you write down what you can't see yourself, that you become aware of what you can't see yourself. So, and to do that, you need somebody to help you, to drag that out of you, and to help you, to ask you the right questions to get there. So basically, that is one thing that I see. And another thing that I see is that people say, like, Caroline, oh, I'm a crap writer. I can't sell myself. Resume writer, here you go. Wrong, 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 wrong. Do not outsource your resume. I repeat, do not outsource your resume. Like, don't get me wrong. Resume writers can put brilliant words on a piece of paper, but here is the problem. They will use a language that's not yours. And 9 out of 10 chances, people will actually have caused friction in the interview, because your resume gives one perception of to the interviewers, and they say like, oh my God, we want to see this person. And then you go in an interview and you can't talk the language, and then you have friction between your resume and who you are. And then thirdly, a resume writer, they don't know your strengths. They don't see what your unique value proposition is, or they don't go even like what your core identity is. That's why it might help in the odd occasion, but it's not really in the long term. It's not going to benefit you. So the only way to do it, and this is what I do with a lot of my clients, and I don't understand why nobody else is doing it, or not a lot of people are doing it, is really like working together. I'm not an expert in every single industry, nor do I need to be. You are. And when clients come to me, they don't expect me to be the industry expert of what they're applying for, but they expect me to be able to pull out what they can't see and what they can't pull out themselves. They can write, they can negotiate, they can do a lot of things. Otherwise, they wouldn't be at the positions that they are, but they are. So they're good. They're really good. They have achievements under their belt. They can put a sentence together. So, and that will make the difference, is how they position themselves on their resume. And so what we do as a company is help people really understand basically what their unique value proposition is. We work and coach with them to actually like define that. Then we go over their pitch and we help them co-create and craft their pitch. And then what we do is we help them like with their resume and LinkedIn profile. And that is basically the order that it should be in, not just like looking at your resume and putting a bunch of nice words on paper, because that is going to be a very short-term view and not a long-term view. I hope that makes sense, and I hope I really got my message across to you. If you have any questions about that, or if you want to challenge my beliefs, like more than happy to have a conversation with you to actually like see where you're coming from and to see what your thoughts are and your experiences. And if what I said to you really resonates with you and you want to work further with me, we created a new program that's called the Six-Figure Resume. So basically, that is a program, a workshop. It's a very intensive workshop that's one-on-one. And that's with the aim to get you more interview and get you hired faster. So you can transform your current resume from ordinary to outstanding. And basically it goes through those three things that I've said before, and it's all working together with a coach. So it's not doing it yourself. It's not them doing it for you. No, it's working together. That's where the magic happens. So in the first thing is discovering your unique value proposition. In the second part, it's crafting your elevator pitch. And in the third part, it's creating a standout resume and LinkedIn profile. And the way we do that is by basically teaching you, first of all, by video training, how to actually get all the right information that you need to make that transformation. Then you give it a go. That's the second part. You give it a go, because what we do is we don't hand you the fish. We want to teach you how to fish. That's what we want to do. So basically, you just give it a go. Based on what you have learned, you implement. And then you have a one-on-one session with your coach to actually see like, okay, how can I now take what I've done, take that and make that 10, 20, 30 times better, so I can actually just like get the results that I'm after. I will pop a link below and check it out. Like I said, now is a perfect timing to work on your resume and on your LinkedIn profile. There's a lot of movement that's going to happen, and you don't want to wait last minute to actually start getting your act together. So I hope this truly helped and inspired you to really take action and to really like dig deep. If we are not connected yet on LinkedIn, like reach out, connect with me. I'm all about expanding my network and sharing my message with more and more people. And if you have any requests or you want to hear my views on certain topics, like let me know, direct message me, as many of you guys already did. So thank you for that. So if you're new to my work and who I am, like feel free to reach out and to connect with me. Thank you so much. It was absolutely amazing again to share this with you, and I hope you a very nice day. Thank you. Bye-bye.